Welcome back to the Recharged in 30 podcast. I'm your co host, Nafisa.
And I'm your co host, Samina. And if, like me, you are terrible at tracking which loyalty programs link to which and what benefits you get, this episode is for you. We're talking apps, banks, petrol, travel, you name it. But before that, Recharged in 30 is brought to you by Naked, instant online insurance for all your things. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
So let's start at the beginning. Physical cards. Do you remember, Samina, back in the day, we had a very chunky wallet full of all of our loyalty cards, like running out of space in our wallets, needing to buy bigger wallets. So I think when Stowcard launched, and I came across it, I think it was 2016, where I do have a review up on Recharged if anyone wants to see it. Since that app launched, it was such a relief for me to load everything on that app and just get rid of the physical cards. It was, I don't use the word game changer very lightly, but I feel that's what the Stowcard app was. Even for cards that you couldn't scan, there was an option to like kind of take a photo of the back of the card and put your number manually. I don't know if you familiar with this app, but I've done everything. I went through my cupboards and just loaded every single loyalty card I could into that app.
Oh my gosh, and you're just reminding me how many piles of loyalty cards I have lying in like drawers and my cupboard somewhere. So no, I haven't used it, which is why they're still lying there. But let's see, by the end of this episode, you probably will have influenced me. Do you even still carry a wallet?
Actually, I don't. Surprisingly, so I use a phone wallet, which is a very slim case that carries maybe two cards, and one of which is my driver's license. And then so this is for traveling, by the way. And then I have a normal case when I'm back in SA, and I just literally slide in my driver's license at the back of that case. So I don't carry a wallet anymore because I think those loyalty cards actually took up a lot of space. And now that we have I loaded all my cards onto my smartwatch and my phone as a backup, I don't actually need to carry a wallet. I just have my phone ones as a backup, but I think I'm now wallet free.
Oh, that's so brilliant. Like, if anything, I'll get on it just not to have to carry a wallet anymore. That'd be so great. So back to loyalty. Banks are big on competing through their loyalty programs. So which ones do you use and how do you make them work for you?
So most of you who have already been following Recharged and my journey, you know that I use both FNB and Discovery Bank. So I also try to maintain both loyalty programs, eBucks obviously on FNB and Vitality Money on Discovery Bank. I obviously follow through on I go into the app and look at what each loyalty program asks of me. I know it sounds like a lot of admin, and it actually is. So, but if you do want to get these discounts, you do need to put in the work. So let me touch on eBucks first. So for getting the points, I try to see how I can get the most out of it. Firstly, I obviously switched to a spouse account. I don't think I've said this out before anywhere, but I actually saved half the costs on my monthly fees. You know, I'm paying like half the price, so I thought that would be great. But also just a bit of a tangent. You don't actually, if you do have a spouse account, both accounts are completely separate. You don't have access to each other's bank accounts. It's like a complete separate thing. I'm just saving on the monthly fee, but I do all the things that it asks of me. When you go into the app, it tells you what under the earn tab, if I'm not mistaken, under track my rewards. So I try and see in a month, based on my account, what I can do to maximize my benefits. It's actually very granular, and I appreciate the information shared. You know, it's down to they're separated by the cards and your spend online and the reward programs you use. So I'm very much into seeing how I can fit that into my lifestyle. And I do think I have a rhythm going purely because I do end up on level 5 a lot of the times on eBucks. I manage to maintain that. Yeah. And maybe when I'm traveling or super busy, like towards the end of the month, I don't have time to go in and check, then I end up on level 4, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think I've now kind of nailed it into what I do. But I do a lot of other things to make sure I'm getting either eBucks or maintaining my rewards. Like, for example, I mean, we all have household purchases. I opt to actively run all those big expenses, if it comes to that, on my card, whether I need to upgrade something or buy furniture. I mean, it obviously doesn't happen all the time, but I do use that as an opportunity to get more eBucks or earn any other bonus points. So I do it in that way. And then if I'm booking all my travel holidays, I book it on my card specifically. And then other stuff, like if some of my friends, when I travel and if they want something from abroad, that's just a bonus. I'll swipe it on my card and I earn points that way. And I also have like a tax-free savings account. I'm not sure if you have one, but on FNB, I think you earn a fair amount of eBucks if you actively put something in your account every month.
Oh, I do, but I don't do it on FNB. That might be a good idea.
Oh, but I think it might be a mission to switch it from one bank to the other. Yeah. So, in all honesty, because it's a SaaS thing and they know from your ID number, I don't think it's worth switching. It's worth the hassle of switching. You need permissions and stuff. I did look into it.
But I suppose it's good for people who haven't gotten one yet.
Yes,
they can
then
still.
you can very strategically decide. So because the allowance is about 36,000 a year for individuals, I make sure mine is minimum 3,000 a month, I think. I cap it at that, to get the 1,000 points per month. So that's one of my ways. And then I look at the spend partners like your usual Takealot, Mr. D, Superbalist, Arc stores, and whatever else catches my eye. But another thing about earning eBucks, I know over the years some people have come to me and said it's kind of tricky to earn eBucks, but because of the stuff I mentioned earlier, like the spending, and I save my money and I buy all my tech products on the card, and I don't live on credit. I rather save the money and put it back in my card. I actually earn like bonus rewards, like an instant reward from eBucks. So I feel that's how that's like my shortcut or my hack to kind of getting eBucks quicker. But obviously you can't constantly be in expenses or like buying furniture every month. But I just strategically make it such that I plan them so I get enough eBucks. Are you on any sort of similar pattern or path?
So I have eBucks and I have similar complaints as other people, but I will get to that a little bit later, about how it's harder to earn eBucks now. I think maybe as their base of customers grows, they have to also make it worth their while. So this is all really helpful to hear about. What do you get on Discovery?
Yeah, so with Discovery, I also maintain Vitality Money. I think I'm on the gold level right now. But as we all know, if you are on Discovery, it actually helps to have other products. So I do have medical aid with them, and I do have other financial products. So I tried to look at that and also ways on how I can increase. So the way Discovery works, they have 5 very basic things on their Vitality Money categories that you need to make sure you get points on, and which is savings, debt, insurance, retirement, and property. What's interesting though, I don't know whether people listening know about this. So I do have a lot of savings on FNB, whether it's my tax-free and other savings, plus I have separate Vitality savings. I actually go into the option to upload my statements from FNB onto Discovery, and it actually gives me the full 25,000 points, which helps me with, that's the maximum saving points you can get, and I have it because I have savings across multiple banks. And obviously,
what?
Yeah, so even if you have it like on other banks, other policies, there's an option when you do go to upload to show that you do have savings. You don't necessarily have to have it on Discovery Bank.
Oh, that's really cool. So as long as you can prove that you have savings somewhere else,
yes, like an official bank statement
for it.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, and similarly with debt, as I mentioned earlier, I obviously don't live on debt. I try to save my money everywhere as possible and then purchase something. So my debt points are always the maximum 25,000. And then with insurance, you just need to see what you have or what products work for you. Same with retirement. I do have one retirement policy on Discovery, and then property. So if you don't have a property under your name, you can always save. So Discovery has a way where if you save enough above your, I think it's at least 3 months of your income kind of thing, and it bases it on your what's coming in. Yeah, it does show you and it gives you points that way. So that's how I used Discovery. I look at everything and how to get the points. And obviously, I feel like I'm lagging behind on the health point of view. Although they did change it a bit now where you do get, or your loyalty programs are tied mainly to Vitality Money, if I'm not mistaken. And a little portion is to Vitality Health. Those are how I use the 2 banks to work my way up the rewards programs. I think these little tips and tricks may help people who are listening if you want to, especially the savings option. Like if you're new to the bank, don't feel that, you may not get all the points to reach, to climb a level.
Okay, that is very helpful. I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier was that people were struggling to earn the eBucks that they used to before because the goalposts changed quite a bit. And like one of those big bugbears is airport lounge visits. And you mentioned in the Tech Savvy Traveler about the Lounge Key app. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode yet, please go back and listen to it. It makes it a lot easier to access lounges when you are traveling. So speaking of travel, tell me a bit more about the travel benefits that Discovery and FNB provide.
Yeah. So obviously, I just want to reiterate to anyone listening, obviously, we're referring to FNB and Discovery because I'm using them, but I'm pretty sure all other banks have their own offerings. I obviously can't have a bank account with every bank to know them, but just for your reference. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, because I maintain my status like with between Vitality Gold and between eBucks Level 5, I do get a fair amount of percentage discounts for my flights. Last year when I went to the Rugby World Cup, it was a very last minute thing, we reached the finals and then it was literally that Sunday. A friend and I decided we want to go, and I had like a few days to book. I definitely looked at both Discovery options and FNB. The issue with Discovery is to get your full discount, you need to book 42 days in advance. So obviously that didn't work for that. So I went to eBucks and I booked my flights there, and that worked out for me. We got a very good discount. The person in me is always going to obviously do my research, look at all the tabs, have different browsers open. And that's exactly what I did with all the airlines. I tried to see where I could get, whether you book directly or book via the eBucks platform. And in this instance, it was actually cheaper to book via eBucks. So I think for booking flights, I do play around the options. I look at both for sure, but with Discovery you do need to plan a bit better. You do need that 42 days I think notice in advance. But for local flights, I feel I also do get like a 45% discount on the flights, which is quite substantial actually.
That's almost 50%. That's almost half of.
Yeah. And there are other things I can do to get up to 75% off, but I'm nowhere near that. But I think if you just look at the rules, sit down a little, know that it's some kind of life admin, just put in the work and see how it works for you. I'm actually very happy that I have both these options working in my favor. One for last minute bookings, one if I plan in advance. And you just have to check with each bank what airlines they partner with. So, I mean, some of them could happen to be ones that you already have your loyalty programs with. So all of that, I think, there's benefits to all of it. And I just love booking my flights that way.
Yeah, no, because things have gotten very expensive, especially over the past couple of years. Like, cost of living has gone up quite a bit. So I really do think that it's worth sitting and like looking at all these people that you give your money to for different things and how their loyalty programs can help like take some of the strain off. So, okay, so you've traveled, you're at your destination. How do you get the best deals for accommodation?
Yes, so I also, as you mentioned also, I touched on this very briefly in the Tech Savvy Traveler episode. So what I didn't share is that I joined the loyalty program that I have on my airline, Flying Blue, which is Air France and KLM. They do have a lot of sort of accommodation partners, and one of them, the main one rather, being Booking.com. I'm sure everyone is familiar with Booking.com. It allows you to book with no prepayment and free cancellation kind of thing. Sometimes you pay when you get to the destination, which is great. If just say you're sitting in the airport and you find a cheaper deal, then you're canceling the one booking for another, right?
Yeah.
So with that particular loyalty program, Flying Blue, as I mentioned, I love that they have so many different airline partners. I mean, I'm just going to give you an example, like Marriott, Hilton, Best Western, the Hyatt, IHG, Radisson, World Hotels Collection. There's so many different hotel brands under Flying Blue. So what I do is I do travel a fair amount for work, obviously, and personal. I sign up for any reward program. So if it's Radisson, I'm signing up. For example, all the hotels I mentioned, I do sign up for their loyalty programs because I don't know when I'm going on a business trip which hotel I'm going to be in. So it just pays to have a loyalty program. Or once I do get my details, I sign up for the loyalty program ahead of checking in. Sometimes there's benefits to it. You get like early check-in, late check-out kind of thing. So I link all of that, and the key thing to what I'm telling you is on these individual programs, it gives you the option to convert those miles back into a Flying Blue mile. So how cool is that?
Wait, what do you mean?
So even though for example, on Radisson, I think I'm on like a second tier, like a premium. I had I think over 10,000 points. Just the other day, I went back to see and I actually transferred all of those points and I converted them to Flying Blue miles.
So you can take points from your hotel stay and convert them into points that you can use for your flights.
That's correct, actually. That's why it pays to do research. And the Flying Blue, for me, I felt was perfectly suited for that.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I just listed two airlines they do have other airline partners, obviously, and you can see what's within the network. I mean, a lot of these airline programs do have, they kind of link you to the world, if that makes sense. There's always some airline. You just need to see which airlines work for you and which ones you prefer and which transit destinations work for you, whether you want to do shopping. But yeah, I feel like, that's one of my favorite ways to earn miles because, for example, I think I also touched on this before. I can convert those miles into credit for Wi-Fi. So I can just pay for in-flight Wi-Fi using those miles if I want to.
Oh, wow. And we know in-flight Wi-Fi isn't exactly cheap either.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so that is exactly what you need, is like a program that gathers a bunch of products or hotels or different aspects of your trip at least to make it easier to travel, make it cheaper to travel as well. So still on travel, let's talk local and fuel. I get fully overwhelmed by all the options associated with fuel loyalty programs. So how do you make them work for you?
So yeah, given that fuel is a grudge purchase, I think we and our listeners should definitely consider it or look into the options available to you. It doesn't matter which petrol station you frequent or what's your favorite or not or whatever's near you. You should, whether it's like a Shell, Engine, Sasol, you should look into it. So a few years ago, I came across this petrol loyalty thing. I didn't know directly they offered it. So I signed up and I got like two cards, I think. I linked my husband's card to mine. So when he fills, I also get the points. So that's just one portion of getting loyalty points. You should actually check directly. And then you get other schemes that exist already for this kind of thing. For example, your banks. I'm sure you know that a lot of them, whether it's FNB, Discovery, Netbank, Capitec, I think Standard Bank and ABSA, all of them have some sort of loyalty scheme with a petrol station. So apart from earning directly with those stations, you are now going to earn on your banking card. So, like I said, it is a grudge purchase. Why not maximize the benefits wherever you can?
Yeah.
And then I think other programs like whether it's Clicks or Discam or Pick and Pay on your smart shopper, there's also those options. So I think there's just multiple layers to this one. You just need to see what works for you, how many in your family, whether you're running a small business and have like multiple cards. It might be work in your favor to just link all of those cards to one program.
That is very good advice. I didn't realize that you could get cards from the actual fuel stations themselves, that they have their own loyalty programs as well.
Yes, and they allow for families. So you can get up to 3, if I'm not mistaken. But also know that on these programs, they obviously, it's like 15 cents per liter that you're getting back. I mean, if you're playing the long game, you can obviously accumulate and you can buy yourself a meal or donate it or whatever the case is. You're still getting something back.
Good to know. And do you have a preference on which petrol station to use to get the most eBucks or Discovery miles?
Yeah, so when it comes to the banks, I find that I get more Discovery miles when I fill up a tank versus what I get on eBucks. But to be honest, I also base it on which petrol station I am closer to the time, and then I'll use my virtual card to tap for FNB, to get the eBucks. But I always play up my options. But if I do want to maximize my Discovery miles, for example, I know I'll get a lot of miles if I use a Discovery card.
Oh, okay. I have to say, your determination to track is really impressive. So we've covered cards, travel, banks, and fuel. What are your favorite lifestyle partner loyalty programs?
Right. So can we actually give a shout out to Clicks for being the OG here with its club card?
Hey.
I even think it's some level of gamification because I was still in high school when we used to shop at Clicks for the points. Do you remember the back to school stationery and all those sales? Tell me you did it.
I do.
Yeah. So, with the lifestyle partner, Clicks is my main one, I would say. I've obviously been using it since I was a teenager, and now I'm in my early 40s and I'm still a fan. So I actually found a way now to purchase my collagen from Sorbet Salons, which I don't know if you're aware. I think Clicks owns it because you now get all the Clicks Club Card points. So sometimes I pop into a Sorbet hair bar even because I know that I can get Clicks points that way. So it's those small little things that I try to keep in the back of my mind. So for example, my collagen, I used to buy it directly from the brand itself on their website. I mean, I think I still maybe buy it when there's a Black Friday sale, but for the rest of the time, I try to make sure I get it from Clicks just to get those points. I mean, it's crazy how these companies get us to stick with them. I think it's impressive.
I also think so. But also, yeah, like you said, Clicks was the OG where you used to get cash back. It was the most exciting thing. It was like getting free money.
Right.
And there weren't that many loyalty programs at the time, I don't think. They were one of the few that had that. I didn't used to use Dis-Chem when I was younger, so I don't actually know. But yeah, I remember. Also, I didn't know that Clicks owned Sorbet. That's also so great to know, because if you're going for nails or hair, those are like biggish purchases, so they would add to your points significantly.
Yeah, that's why I'm a fan of these new Sorbet, I think dry bar or hair bar. Sorry, I'm mistaking. I can't remember what they actually call, but it's those salons. They're actually now randomly in a mall. So if I just need a quick wash and dry or a trim, sometimes I'll just walk in there knowing that I'm going to get the Clicks Club card points. So it's all these little mini lifestyle changes, I would say. And I also think, like, with the cost of living these days, a lot of the purchases we make feel like grudge purchases, and consumers always want something back. Like, I'm very into reading up on how I can find loyalty programs that work for me. Like, I don't care how many I sign up for, like I mentioned earlier with the hotels as an example. I am sort of the similar when it comes to airlines, purely because I travel a lot for work. So yeah, as long as I'm getting something back, I feel like it lessens the blow of everything you pay for in a way. And also, I touched on the Aerolo ASIM program, I think, in our traveler episode. I didn't actually mention they have a very robust loyalty program. I actually reviewed this, the eSIM. It's on my website, and also there's a link on my homepage on Recharged that will give you a $3 credit for anyone listening who's never heard of it. Yeah, they incorporated it so well. It's so seamless. It's so easy to use. I made like over $420 in referrals alone, which I use to fund my data when I travel. How crazy is that?
That is amazing. So then each time people use your code, you get actual cash.
Not just me, them as well. So it's like an affiliate thing. So just say if you're planning your upcoming travel and you want to use my code, then you'll get the $3 and I'll get the $3. And then in the same breath, you can then share your code now that you signed up and share it with your network. So it's like kind of like pays itself up, you keep sharing and
That's
resharing.
Amazing. Oh, very cool. Okay, so I've learned a lot. And I'm starting to think that the effort it would take to track the different programs and see how best to benefit them might actually be worth the time. Like maybe if I tracked my savings from all of the loyalty programs, I'd be more motivated. But I really am, though, I must say. Like, I think I'm going to make a better effort to like sign up.
Maybe you already have a friend who can sit with you and hold your hand and show you the ropes.
Oh, no. Whoever will I ask?
Wow, we've covered a lot today. For our listeners, I hope it has been more useful than overwhelming. I know I shared a lot. I think for me, I see it as playing the long game. I take years to save up my eBucks or my miles before I buy any big ticket items. And that for me is ultimately what I'm saving for. So in the past, I've used my bank loyalty programs like eBucks to buy iPads like twice now, clothes, even flights abroad. I've done this several times. I remember back in the day, I went on a med cruise with my sister. I don't know whether you recall. I actually paid 3,800 Rand in eBucks to buy a return flight to Barcelona. Can you believe it?
What?
I had an eBucks. Yes, I had a discount and that's all I had to pay, and I used my eBucks. I'll never forget. That was kind of like a cheapish holiday for me because my sister, with her kids, she had an extra space in the cabin and I just had to pay for my flights. So yeah, that's something I'll never forget. But also my iPads, I think, because they're my own personal entertainment devices, and I feel like that's something I'd want to use my eBucks for. And now with my Discovery Miles, I think I've saved up quite a bit. I'm actually planning to buy my next iPhone with the chunk of it. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll wait to maybe get a discount. So it's things like that. Just be patient. Try to read the rules firstly, see what works for you, and try and incorporate it in your lifestyle.
So we've shared a lot today, but don't worry. The great thing about a podcast is you can go back and listen again. And if you're enjoying our show so far, please consider leaving us a rating on Spotify or any other platform that you're listening to Recharged in 30 on. Also, if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover, please drop us a comment or DM on any platform. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and X, and we would love to hear from you.
Recharged in 30 is made possible by Naked, where you can change your cover instantly on the app as your needs change. No need to ever speak to a call center. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
And that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.